Okay. So the positions when you want to do Reiki on yourself, I find that it's easiest to do lying down. Let me pin this so it comes out. You can see. Do, do, do. What is it? Okay. All right. So hand positions for doing Reiki on yourself. Um, the first thing you want to do is to feel grounded. Okay, always when we work with energy, we need to be grounded so that we don't get zapped, metaphorically, um, and literally. So we're going to start with the hands at the hip creases. Now, I'm going to show you standing up. You can do this standing up. Um, some of these positions you can do sitting, but I really like to take it lying down with my feet propped up on something, pillows under my knees, so you can just really relax. Sometimes. So tuning into the root chakra, we're also hitting a couple acupressure points here in the hip creases. And the more you tune into this area of the body, the more you'll start to sense um, chi flow and energy even more because there's big arteries down here. So chi, blood is basically condensed chi. So in Chinese medicine. So when we can tune into the pulsations of the body through the blood, um, we'll find soon after that that the more subtle pulsations we feel are the less dense chi moving through the body. So that's where you start to be able to really attune the hands to feeling what energy feels like. So down here in the hip creases, I'm on the first and second chakras, both, which is in Chinese medicine, the secret chakras. They talk about them together, the root and the sacral. So before starting the Reiki session and putting my hands on myself, I could draw the symbols on my hands, or I can just visualize the symbol. And after I'm grounded and laying down with the intention of practicing, I can begin to place the hands here on the root and sacral chakras. Now I'm still aware that I'm connected to earth, so I might use this time even to be more secure with my grounding. And then you have two direct things going with expansion and contraction. One is noticing what's going on in this area, and the other thing is just sending um, light, Reiki energy to this area. So there's both an aspect of giving and receiving. And again, your intention will be dependent on what you find there. Maybe you find it's just a little dim, so you need to just breathe in a little bit more light into that area. And then once it's a little bit more light, maybe you find there's a blockage somewhere, so you send Reiki directly to that. Or you sense the blockage and you use Reiki to help remove that. And these are things that come with your intuition being clear and you're noticing and just practicing. Like anything, just sending Reiki to the root chakra after being grounded, and then moving the hands up around the belly into the solar area of the solar plexus. So here you have around your umbilical cord, what was your umbilical cord, which is still your umbilicus, is all the information you received from your ancestors, all your intentions that you have of coming into this incarnation. They're all swimming here where the umbilical cord attached you to all the ancestors before you. So when we say, like, listen to your guts, find your guts to be courageous. There's a lot of science now about how the guts are like the second brain because of the way they process, non-scientific term. So here again, I'm just sending Reiki energy here and listening for what information I can retrieve. And with each of these points, you just stay as long as you need to really feel like you're connecting these areas, right? So we have the central channel this light channel of energy, and then we're just basically like a prism, breaking it down into a rainbow, right? So just sensing into like this part, this is more my foundation, my support, and then here above my support is me. Who am I? Who did I come here to be? Now, right under the breasts, you'll find the rib cage. So this, the area of the diaphragm, is an area that often gets blocked, right? So when we're talking about the bandhas, you have your pelvic floor bandha, you have your bandha that's the diaphragm, right? So these are areas where we use these areas between the bandha to heat up this whole fire, right? And then we have a bandha of the throat. So there's another bandha that separates just the heart and then above the head. So this is exactly as Chinese medicine. We have these three dantians. So below the diaphragm is the lower dantian, is the lower three circles, the lower three chakras. It's the fire and the food we eat, the coals of the fire and the food we eat, right? That literally gets put back into the ground. And all that food energy rises up into the heart to become electrical energy. So it's very important that this area is opened, this bandha, the diaphragm is open. So there's acupressure points along the bottom of the rib cage. And it's nice to just check in with Reiki here and see how this place is operating. If you can take that deep belly breath and billows the fire of the belly, or if you feel that your breath is shallow, maybe this area is a little bit stuck. So below the diaphragm is the lower dantian. And then we move into the heart. So back at the central channel, back at the heart chakra. And here again, just tuning into the energy of the heart. We're in the middle dantian. So the heart is very important. It's like a distilling factory. It's like the flame of the fire. If everything in the lower dantian is the coals and the food and the logs of the fire, the ash, the heart is that place, the flame of the fire that connects the heat, which is more ethereal, to what's actually burning. And it transforms that energy, right? So our food energy is then creates electrical energy. And again, you have this connection between the blood is like very, very thick chi, right? So there's this direct connection to energy and heat of the heart. So when coming to the heart to do Reiki, you can just place the palms one on top of the other. And then again, sensing, noticing, sending Reiki light, sending light energy to the heart to illuminate that area so you can see more clearly what's in there. And then coming up into the throat area. So we have the third bandha here, but it's also overlapping with the throat chakra. So we can just, I like to place my hands to cross them over. So my fingertips are along the collarbones. Sometimes that's not comfortable for people. So then it would be however you want to access this area, right? So if your throat really feels blocked, however you want to bring your hands into this area so that you're most comfortable. One of the most things about Reiki is that as a practitioner, you have to be comfortable if you're going to work with energy. If you're not comfortable, then you're going to be blocking the energy somehow. So even when working on yourself, just find the most comfortable way to tune into that energy of the bandha in the throat and also just the throat chakra, the voice, because here's where the energy from the heart starts to manifest in the physical world. So you're taking this ethereal thing of wind, of voice, that's risen from the heart light and putting it out into the world, right? And we also know the more that we talk about things, the more they start to physically manifest. So there's this connection here between what was physical, the food in the belly, the heart light that became electrical, and now we're getting up into the etheric realms. So working with just opening, clearing, sending light energy so you can see what's there. When we move up into the third eye, there's a couple different ways to access it. Both feel great. One is to bring the palms over the ears, and one is to just bring the palms over the eyes. So either way, by the time you're moving up this high, your palms are going to feel pretty warm, and they both just feel nice and soothing. And again, you can then go into that mind room of the mind and clear that, or work with that, or clean that crystalline pebble of the third eye, and just work on opening this window of the Chitta Kasha. Or you could bring the hands to the ears. Ears are really both throat and third eye in a way, because of course the ears were hearing things, listening. But that's also affected, what we hear and what we listen is also affected by how we were perceiving, right? So it has a lot to do with both these things. So it's just nice to give nourishment to both the ears and the eyes up at this level. Now at the crown, I'm not working necessarily to give myself Reiki at the crown, but rather open the crown. So here, perceiving, cleaning, and then up in the crown, I'm just gently, there's meridians that run across the top of the crown, and there's sutures in the skull. So I'm just really gently just placing my fingertips there. And wherever you start to, again, you're going to start to sense where the energy is connecting, where that almost like a sunroof could be opened. And you'll find the more that you are running energy, it's not super comfortable necessarily to like put a lot of pressure here. So it's just really light fingertips. I'm really just sensing with my fingertips to see like, what I'm feeling. Maybe light pulsations, maybe I start to see colors here or feel something tactile here. So that's the basic hand positions for doing Reiki on yourself. There's a couple other self-massage things that I'll show you really quick that are nice to just help you get there, because I feel like it's harder to access. It can be difficult to access the light energy if the physical body is like, So let's see if I can get this on the screen. I'm going to, on a pad, I'm going to interlace my fingers so my thumbs are loose. And then I'm going to just bring my hands to the back of the head. See if you can see me. I think you can see me. And I'm just pressing my thumbs along the ridge of the back of the skull where the skull and the neck meet. And there's acupressure points back here. So I'm just pressing into that area, opening up that area behind the ears. And then you can even walk your thumbs down the sides of the neck or rub them down the sides of the neck. And that's just a really nice one to open that area. Again, just wherever we find these little places of sticking. So we get sticky in the bandhas, right? There's like actual diaphragm muscle here, actual diaphragm in the belly. So another one you can do is take one palm to the opposite side and then bring the other palm on top. So my fingers are right along where the bones are, my heel of my hand, and not my heel of my hand, the beginning of those metatarsals, ball of my hand. And I'm going to press into that soft tissue area, place my other hand on top, press in and bring down. So again, just working with the fascia. And even just right here, you can just stay here and breathe and feel how the shoulder starts to move away from the ear. Maybe you feel like a little bit of release even behind the ear and the neck. And then you can just have a play here, bringing the opposite ear down away from the shoulder, breathing, looking up, looking down, and just playing with allowing this other bandha to relax. The other place that's really good to put Reiki on yourself is your kidneys. So kidneys are right at the bottom of the rib cage, and you can just open up for your palms to be on the kidneys. That's a really good one when your adrenal glands are really, when you have a lot of coming down from fight or flight, or just need to nourish the kidneys from fear and anxiety. there's a point there, you're actually on the kidney organ there, so you can feel that warmth and heat from the hands. Again, you're just throughout this, you're just noticing, sending light energy, picking up information. The more information you'll be able to pick up, the more you can just ask guidance for what to do with that information. So the more open of a conduit you are, the more you've called in the guardians and the light beings to guide for the highest good, the more you can just ask and receive information. And then the last one is an alarm point for the kidneys along the side of the rib cage. And this is actually, I think, a liver point, but I'm just pressing into the rib cage and then breathing into that pressing of the hands. And just breathing there. So this is an alarm point in acupressure. And any of the acupressure points, of course, you can give Reiki to. These are just points to do regularly on yourself to sort of keep that conduit open. So, the Reiki actually can go anywhere. It's coming through the hands. So like when Dr. Sui fell down the hill when he was on his way back to get enlightenment, how he realized he had this healing power was he put his hands on his toe that he had hurt, and immediately the pain went away. So, if someone hurts it's it's instinctual for humans. It's as if we already know we have this healing power of the hands, because the first thing a mom does when you hurt yourself is to put her hand on it, right? So, you can have that same intention even when we have such social distancing now. It's not the same as it once was, but putting your hand on someone who's telling a story of their sadness, you're sending them a little bit of light by doing that. So let me pause this for a moment, and then there we go. All right. So working on someone else. So working on someone else. You can, before you get to the client, the family member, the friend, do all your grounding exercises. Feel grounded when you go in. Put on your protection, either before you get in the room or in the room. So before I do a session with another person, I start at their feet, and I start to connect first the conduit of energy. I'm already grounded. I've already connected. So I'm just now connecting with them and my own self. So however you visualize doing this, that same thing with intention, and then putting on protection before you touch the body. So sometimes I'll put on protection before I walk into the room. Okay. Now, there's a couple different things that you can do to start. You can start with picking up information at the feet. So just placing the hands at the feet. This area at the top of the foot. So just placing a thumb under one ankle bone and the hand across the top of the foot. Okay, so in that case, both thumbs are in, your hands are just at that top of the foot, right below the ankle, and you're just connecting with them, sensing their energy, feeling where you intuitively need to start, and basically just picking information up about them. Now, as a body worker, you can make the person more comfortable in a couple of ways, which would be the same as similar to putting them into Shavasana that you do as a yoga instructor. So to connect with the body, bringing the hands first to the knees, spiraling around to the calf, lifting the feet, even lifting the whole leg, giving them a little bit of shake and pull, separating the legs, and then grounding them again with the hands at the top of the feet. Right? And you know this from being a yoga teacher, that you then would go to the arm, ask them to give you the weight of the arm, You can shake the arm out a little bit, grabbing on the wrist, and then reach behind, grab that shoulder blade, tuck the shoulder blade in, lay the arm down, and then the hand is in Shavasana, right? Or in palm up. And then same thing at the head, just like you would do in Shavasana, reaching down, lifting the head, getting behind that neck, rolling up, and then giving them a little stretch before setting them back down. And that way you're gonna really make them comfortable on the table. So those things don't necessarily have a specific order other than make sure you're grounded before you go in the room, okay? Call on your guides and light beings of the highest good. Make sure you have protection on before you really start doing the work, okay? So once you're at the feet, you might get a message of where to start, okay? So when you're doing Reiki 1, the easiest thing, when you're at this level is going to be to stick with with the chakras, with the central channel. Okay, but maybe sometimes people have really, like, oh, my knees are sore. So I might just stay at the knees for a long time because I feel called there. And once I'm called there, bringing Reiki in and picking up information. Now, there's two schools of thought about how you are channeling Reiki. There is a school of thought that the energy is coming down through your central channel into your crown and out your heads, and down through your crown and out your arms and hands. There's another school of thought that you're holding light, like holding a tube of light over your hands. Neither one of these is right or wrong. You just have to see how you do with it. One main thing to remember is you don't want to be giving your energy. You're just channeling the Reiki to come in. So whether you want to think of it as holding a tube of light or coming through you in a tube of light, you just want to think about that it's coming, it's of the highest intention, it's of the highest good, and that you're just holding space for it to come through, around you, into this person, and it's not your own energy. So you can also do a lot of sweeping. So oftentimes, maybe I start at the feet and then I just want to sweep the aura out, clean the aura out, again, picking up information. And then at the end of the body, just kind of sweeping it out. So in this way, clearing the aura, not touching the body. And you might pick up information here. It's just it's doing for them a similar thing that you were doing for yourself by all these body scans, cleaning out the energy around you, right? So again, just like I'm going to get into the next layer of this person's energy. So I just want to clean out the aura. Now, again, different schools of thought. I've heard people say, call this like remove this person's aura. I mean, I think that I don't really, a lot of it's semantics. A lot of it when you're working with energy has no specific words. So you have to kind of feel what you're feeling, but obviously like I can't remove a person's whole aura nor would we want to like remove that. So again, it's just kind of different people have explained it different ways. So now I want to show you that I have here underneath, this guy's name is Wilson. Underneath Wilson, I have 2 layers of sheet. Okay, so there's a cloth on the bed. I actually put 3 down, but we're just going to concentrate on these 2. There's a cloth with another sheet on top of it. So what we're going to start doing when we work on other people is to create a sandwich with the body. So say that I get no like real signs from Wilson of anything specific, any blockages particular that Wilson has. I next want to figure out, do I want to work through the central channel from the head to the roots or from the roots to the crown? Okay. And I'm just going to pick a direction intuitively on what I think he needs. And I'm just going to start going through the chakras one at a time. And I'm going to start on Wilson because I'll say like, oh, I'm new to this, so I want to start with grounding because I myself want to be grounded. I want to connect to this person's groundedness. And I'm just using this to even build my own sensory awareness of what I'm experiencing, what they're experiencing. When you're working on chocho, low back pain, start at the back, right? So what I'm doing, the reason I need this double layer sheet is I'm going to use the top layer. I'm going to lift the body weight of the person with one hand and then slide my palm up and lay them back down. So it's really important when you do this, you know, your Shavasana stuff, get them like really weighted and relaxed in their body, and then warn them, I'm going to lift you up. Don't, you know, give me, it's sometimes it's hard for people to give their weight, right? They like try to lift themselves up, but it's like, I just made you quite comfortable with Shavasana. Stay relaxed. Don't try to lift while I lift you up. And then I'm going to lift that person up, slide my hand basically under their sacrum and start at the sacrum. So the feeling of their body weight. Did we have a session together, Nadia? You and I?
Yeah, just for the during
The class?
the level 1. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the normal way that I work on people. So one hand is underneath them, and then the other hand is going to be somewhere on top. Okay, so with the root, it's also connected to the leg. So I'm going to have my hand on the sacrum. I'm just going to bring one hand to the top of the knee. Okay, again, there's acupressure points along the knee. And I'm just going to stay here until I start to sense these pulses, these energy pulses that are telling me that this area, what's going on in this area. So sometimes you might not feel any pulsing. Sometimes you might feel like a really fast pulse. And what we're doing here is just bringing the body's own awareness into itself so that it can all be in equanimity, homeostasis, like find a pulse, a vibration that's jiving throughout the whole body, right? Because you don't want all the energy pulsing really fast down here, but then, you know, nothing is getting to the throat, say, right? So it's you just regulating, helping them start tune into their own system of regulation. So all I'm doing is holding the point until I feel some sort of change. So if the pulse is like really fast, then I'm just going to hold it there and see if it starts to slow down. If I don't feel any pulse, I'm just going to stay there until I start to feel or become aware of some sort of pulse. So when I'm centralized at the root, my hand is on the sacrum, my other hand might be on a knee. And then I can stay there for the sacral too, right? Now, I mean, obviously people have genitals, so where you bring your hand on top, you know, I just usually bring it right below the belly button. You know, I mean, you just have to be sensitive and not touching people's junk. But the great thing about Reiki is people are clothed. You know, other massage things, people aren't clothed. So then I'm just staying here with this hand sandwich. And the weight of their body on my hand is also giving them like, it's a really nice sensation. It feels sometimes like the depth you want a masseuse to get to, but it's only because of your own body weight. So then I would just start moving up the body. So at each area, I'm just going to stay there until I get some information, basically. So sometimes when you're starting, it might feel like you're just holding your hands here for 7 minutes. And then at 7.5 minutes, you get this sudden feeling of something having shifted or changed, right? And then you just take time to notice it. And then we're going to move up to the solar plexus, so getting behind the small of the back, right? So sometimes you can kind of move your hand from underneath, but small of the back is really easy to find. You lift them up, you find the small of the back, and now I'm going to come more around the belly button, above the belly button. And again, I'm just staying here. So I have this sandwich between their body, their bottom body and their top body. And I'm just staying here below the rib cage in the small curve of the back. And then, I might even get up into that bottom of the rib cage where the diaphragm connects. Because by now I can see how their breathing is. I can see if their breath is shallow or deep. And so again, there's the attachments for the diaphragm on the front and the back of the rib cage. There's acupressure points, the front where and the back where they attach. So I might just place some Reiki into those areas of attachment so it helps open up the spanda, open up the diaphragm. And again, I would just stay there. And the more you do this, the more you'll learn how you notice things. So you have a real sense of tactile and sensory in your fingertips. So that'll be your growing edge of just noticing all these things, how you're collecting information. Don't try to make meaning of it too much until you're all the way at the end. Like just keep noticing what you sense, right? Getting into the heart, the area of the heart, generally you're going to have to do something with this arm of theirs. So you might have to bend the arm and place it over the belly, or you can come up above the shoulder. So you can access it, right? I'm either going to take my hand on the top layer of sheet, lift them up, place it right behind the heart, which can be a little, just take some time till you can feel it. You'll feel the ribs right there. Or I can come at it more from a top angle. So it's good wherever someone is. If you're like right now, I'm just, my knees are on the floor and then this person's on a couch. I want to be somehow, again, comfortable, right? So the other way I can come into the heart would be to come up above the shoulder. Again, just lifting them. Okay. And then again, people have breasts, so you have to be very sensitive to getting into this area of the sternum. Sometimes some people, you just, like if this was a woman, I can't rest my hand right here because I'd be over her boobs. So, however I need to move my body to feel comfortable. And then from there, it's a very easy move to the back of the neck, to the area of the C7 where that bone sticks out. And you can come into laying your fingertips across the clavicles. So this can be quite triggering to have the hand up around the throat. So just coming right below, so it's almost still on the heart, but targeting this area around the clavicles, either from the top or the bottom. But the top is, people who come for Reiki are gonna, they're healing, so we don't want to trigger any other stuff, of course, in them. But you can find that you can get your thumb and your index finger working on someone into any of these little spaces between the ribs, and then you would just let the hand relax, target there, back of the hand to the neck. There's a couple other ways to get into the area of the throat, which I'll show you with acupressure points. So let's see here, Wilson, how are we going to do this? This will be a little bit weird because the edge of the couch is there, but okay. So I can also come to work at them from the head, right? So here, depending on the size of the person, I might be able to lift them up and get my hand all the way down below the heart from here, or get a little tangled, or to that C7 vertebra where the neck and shoulders meet. So I could actually have both my hands working here behind the back of the neck. Now, sometimes you'll be able to access it through the sheet. Sometimes you can just access it here, which I'll do just to show you where my hands are. So from here, I'm around that area where the back of the throat is and the C7 vertebra where the shoulders and neck meet. Again, picking up information, chilling with this client. And then from here, with both hands on the back, I can also work with both hands on the front. So I could have both hands on the heart. I can bring both hands to the tops of the shoulders, which is really grounding. And there's really good acupressure points there. So I might just have both palms on the ball joint on the top of the shoulders. And then another way is to press down with the thumbs. I'll show you myself in a moment, but pressing down with the thumbs into where the top of the shoulders are, where the neck and shoulders meet. There's acupressure points there that also help with grounding. So if someone really doesn't feel like they're grounding, staying at the head, pressing into the tops of the shoulders, putting the hands on the tops of the shoulders. So my thumb is still there, hands on top of the shoulders, and just allowing again to receive information. You might feel like these points have no energy in them, and then all of a sudden you feel a fast pulse and something shift. So we're just allowing this person's energy to move down through these acupressure points. And then working on the back of the head, you can do the same thing as you were on yourself when you're coming into the back of the skull with the thumbs, which would be to lift the head and just let the head rest in your hands with the fingertips kind of tucked, moving with that where the back of the skull is, where the bone is, and the soft tissue. And so you're holding the head. Your hands can be, this head isn't quite heavy enough to relax, but basically I can have my hands relaxed, head held in my hands, and just a little pressure there on the back of where the skull and the neck meet. And then depending what people need, working on the ears. Again, I don't do a lot on the top of the skull, but I might come to these points here where the hairline is. And it's very comforting. This is very comforting. Holding the head in the hands is very comforting, closing off the sound. And holding the head with the thumbs right at the hairline there, which I'll show you in a second. So for coming into the top of the shoulders, so I was showing here with the grounding points, it's just right here, like you'll feel where you have these bands of muscle, and I'm just pressing my thumb basically from the other direction, pressing my thumb in there, and then just holding the tops of the shoulders. The hairline one is just, like right in the center where the hairline is, just very gently. I find it, the more sensitive someone is, the more like poking into their skull or poking into their third eye, like it's actual physically sensation. So like holding someone's head with their ears closed is so comforting. It's such like a feeling of comfort. The same thing of like cupping the back of the skull and just gently into that same area in the back of the skull with the muscles in the skull. It's just very comforting. So now back to the customer. I've worked through the central channel with Wilson. Depending on how much time I've spent there, I might get intuition about another place I want to go back to, back down along the channel. So again, sensing, now putting together all the information I've collected. Like, okay, I noticed that Wilson was breathing really shallow. Now he's breathing a little bit deeper, but maybe I want to go put some more focus on the back attachments, say for the diaphragm, so then I could even go in there and again go to like the upper part of the low back and place one hand on the back attachments of the ribs and one arm, like my hand is over here on one and then over. And these are things that they're working on people, like it's really really good to get a Reiki group going there in Yangon. I know that Anna's quite interested in it, and she's quite high level, because everything I know, like I had good teachers, but also it just came from practice. So at the end, you're always going to want to talk to your client and tell them like what you saw and what you experienced. And then you're going to see like, oh, this person's also having this block at this chakra level, like you start to put together the diagnosis. Okay, so at the end, so I've gone through all the way through and worked on him. If the time is really short and I want to spend more time, maybe I would work all the way back down the central channel. But I'm going to come out the same way I went in, basically. So where's your head, Wilson? All right. So I'm going to come back out the same way I went in, meaning I'm going to come back to the feet. So when I'm done working on them, I've spent maybe 45 minutes, an hour working on them. I'm going to come back to the knees. I'm just going to help them, reinforce this sense of that they're grounded. Now, I'm not leaning into them, but I'm also not trying to like hold myself. I'm giving them a nice firm pressure. Like I'm not leaning my body weight into them, but it doesn't, I'm not, if you try to like keep your hands off the body, they start shaking. So just a nice firm pressure. And you know this from giving adjustments in yoga and stuff, just like this gentle, firm, loving kindness. So I come back to their knees, ground them, come spiral around the legs. Now I could come back to the heels, give them a little shake if that feels good, or I could come back just to the tops of the feet. And just ask at this point if there's anything else you need to do or if the session is finished. And when you know the session's finished, you just take your hands away, step back, and we're, again, coming out the same way we came in. So first, cutting off the energy cords that connect you and that person. Taking a step away, clearing your own energy field. And then sometimes I get it's like getting a new cape for the aura. I receive from a guide a little auric cloth, and I just go back through the aura and just leave them with this like nice shimmering, clean cape in the aura. And now I'm still going to talk to them after this, so I am still going to be quite open, but I'm going to start to close off my own energy here and just take a few body scans with the intention of now taking back what is mine, giving back to them what is theirs. And then I would tell the client, I'll be back in a few minutes. You just rest and relax. I go out of the room. I wash my hands in cool water above the elbows. I might sweep anything else off just to make sure that I didn't take any of their stuff on. And then get them a glass of water and return. And then they're just talking about what I noticed. So whatever form that comes in, usually, again, like the more you practice, the more the messages are direct and they seem to have application.